I know. Is he dribbling a basketball? Is he playing a piano? We will never know. Hello and welcome to Coach's Decision, a weekly talk show that covers sports topics from the Bay Area and beyond. I'm joined here today in the lovely KSCO studios by my partner, Joaquin Nagel. How are you, Joaquin?
I'm the happiest I've been as a sports fan in a long time, Thomas.
So Joaquin's happy to be here. That's great to hear. Are you still reeling more from the finals or reeling more from Sunday's Game of Thrones episode?
It's hard to say. I would say that I'm ecstatic from the finals and baffled by Game of Thrones.
Baffled, not bummed. Baffled.
Baffled.
Okay, we don't do spoilers on this show because that's not fair to the people out there listening. On today's show, I will spoil it though. We're going to discuss the finals. We're going to discuss another sport that has crowned a champion, the NHL, maybe. We'll also congratulate the women's national soccer team on winning their group and advancing to the group stage, and finally discuss a controversial video surrounding two Boston sports legends. I'm really excited about that one. We'll also be taking calls in about 20 minutes, listeners out there, and we'll also take your Twitter questions. To reach us, call producer Tori at 831-479-1080 or find us on Twitter at Coach's Decision, COACHS Decision. Please give us a shout. But yes, we must do it because the Santa Cruz Warriors won a championship.
Yes.
Leading into the Golden State Warriors winning a championship.
Yes.
Now, I know the 1970s were good for the Warriors just because of the movie that came out called Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I know you want to do it.
Warriors.
That's a good one. So 40 years pass, they win a title. We're going to talk about how they did it right now. How did they do this, Joaquin?
Oh, man. Well,
first of all, you got to thank God.
The first person I want to thank. No, the Warriors won this title by being wire to wire the best team in the NBA. They started out the season hot, they continued hot, they ran hot the whole season, and then they lost 5 games throughout the entire playoffs to take it home.
But it wasn't as easy as you make it sound right there, because they did have to make significant adjustments in the Memphis series. They had to make even more significant adjustments in this series against, I almost said the Heat, against the LeBrons. Might as well just call them what they are. Call a spade a spade. They're the LeBrons. Was Kerr the reason that they won this title and not, like last year, fail in the first or second round of the year before?
Kerr's the reason that they had a culture where they could make adjustments freely. So Kerr came in and he changed us versus them mentality that the players had, where it was us versus the front office and like a really insular group, into a very a well-balanced culture where everyone from interns to assistant coaches to bench players to starters to stars could all make suggestions on how the team could advance and better their play.
Okay, so let's talk about the specific adjustments, because a guy who didn't even start the series as a starter became, and we'll talk about later, the MVP, Andre Iguodala. What goes into that decision, and how right and how so very right that decision was to start Andre Iguodala and keep him on LeBron the entire game?
Well, first off, LeBron was getting off to a hot start in every game because Harrison Barnes was guarding him, and Harrison couldn't stay with LeBron. LeBron was blowing past him on the first step on every drive, and Harrison had no chance. And so you're just you're spotting the Cavs an advantage where they already had an advantage with the activity of their big men versus Andrew Bogut. And in addition, you don't have your best one-on-one defender guarding the best player in the world.
So what do you think is the specific turning point? Was it that adjustment, or was it any particular Warrior stepping up in play? Was it the fatigue factor for the Cavs? What would you say is the most significant?
So the most significant adjustment is definitely starting Andre over Bogut, but you're
not even playing Bogut at all.
Not playing Bogut at all, but we should have seen that coming, because at the start of overtime in Game 1, Kerr went small. Kerr started Festus just for the tip, and then got Festus Ezeli out of there as soon as he to put in Andre, and he ran out that small lineup that ran the Cavs off the floor in the last 3 games.
So you talked about culture and what Steve Kerr has brought to the team. Does this project forward? Is this a team that could repeat? Is this a team that could become a dynasty?
This is a team that could very well repeat. They're looking to bring back almost all of their players from this year. The only person that they're looking to move on from is David Lee. It's already been reported today that the Warriors front office and David Lee's camp have agreed to look for a new destination for Lee. And then they'll bring back Draymond. They'll probably sign him to a max contract. And they still have cap room to sign Curry to a better extension when his current contract runs out, and to sign Harrison Barnes.
So not one, not two,
I
three.
I refuse to go Heat welcome party on the radio, Thomas.
You can't do that. But LeBron did. And he is now 2-4 in the finals, which, you have to admire, getting to 6 finals and 5 straight. That's an insane accomplishment that's only been done by Boston players in a league with 9 other teams, 2 playoff rounds, and 1 really tall guy who was the only guy who knew how to block shots in the entire league. What do you think? How do you think this series in particular affects his legacy, and where do you rank it among all-time playoff performances? Period.
So it's I don't subscribe to the rings theory. I think that basketball is a team game, and you can't just judge player by their performance in the finals. I also think LeBron could have a good argument for being the MVP of this series. That being said, I think this is a positive on his legacy instead of a negative. Just being able to drag this group of players to 2 wins against a team that won 67 games during the regular season is a major accomplishment.
But you mentioned basketball being a team game, and it is. But you can make excuses for someone like Alex Rodriguez for only winning 1 title because 25 guys have to perform in order to win a championship. Football, 53 guys. Peyton Manning doesn't have the Super Bowl records, doesn't have that, and you can say, I don't subscribe to rings. But basketball, you have the most influence from 1 guy because there's only 10 guys on the floor at a time, 5 on each side.
Well, you could see that the Cavs' only chance of winning in this series was completely relying on LeBron. He sat 1 minute in the entire game until he came out of the game with 30 seconds left.
Yeah, I'm just saying you can't play down his importance to the series or any one basketball player to a team because we've seen so often the best player does win a lot of championships.
Well, even in the limited time that he sat, the Warriors outscored the Cavs by 59 points in like the 22 minutes that LeBron sat.
Yeah, what is the statistic? 0 for 21 if you combine Smith, Delly, Shumpert, and
Jones.
And James Jones. 0 for 21. When LeBron James is not on the floor for the entire series. Mm-hmm. The first thing that's baffling about that is they didn't hit a darn shot. The second thing that's baffling is they only took 21 total field goals when LeBron wasn't in the game because he was always in the freaking game. Both of those numbers really are impressive for the Warriors and for LeBron.
Exactly.
But LeBron did not win the MVP. Our man, Iggy.
At Andre.
Iggy, can't you see? Sometimes your moves just hypnotize me.
So I think Iguodala is very deserving, but I think it's more telling that the player who guarded LeBron in the last 2 finals wound up winning the finals MVP when LeBron wound up losing.
Well, we're moving into a culture of not only statistics, but in shifting the way we view certain sports. In baseball, Felix Hernandez can win a Cy Young while winning 12 games and having a losing record. We're valuing things like defense because now we can make them into metrics. We have the sport view tracking, and we care about individual possessions and who defends who, and we can run those numbers because there's millions of nerds out there who will do it. So I do see the value of defense more, and this is proof positive that the league does, and the people who follow the league and cover the league now do. So very deserving MVP. Steph Curry was also amazing in this series.
See, I would vote Steph Curry. If you're going to vote someone on the Warriors for finals MVP, I would have picked Curry. In this game, Curry had 25 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds, which is right around his season averages. But in addition to that, he had 5 secondary assists or hockey assists, where Cleveland would trap Curry 25 feet away from the basket like no other player on the planet would be guarded, and he would make a little hook pass to the top of the key to Draymond or Harrison, and they would then record an assist themselves. So that's 5 secondary assists, and he also had 3 free throw assists where they're not going to actually count it as an assist because the player got fouled during a shot attempt.
That's a really interesting statistic I've never heard. I like that. Instead of thinking of him as having 8 assists, he's actually having
upwards of 16, and he's creating so much offense for the Warriors just by being on the floor.
So I don't think Steph Curry deserved to lose the NBA Finals MVP, but I think the Cavs took it away from him. I almost said the Heat again. It's driving me crazy. They took it away from him because they took the ball out of his hands, and they made Draymond Green beat them 4-on-3, and they made guys moving around the court around that axis beat them. So they took the trophy away from Steph.
So I'm gonna quibble with one thing really quick here, Thomas. I don't think that they were actually forcing the Warriors to play 4-on-3. The Cavs were face guarding Klay Thompson and never rotating off Klay Thompson for help for fear of his shooting, and so the Warriors were actually getting to play 3-on-2, which is an even bigger advantage in the half court.
If they can get it down to 2-on-1, they can win this thing every year.
Exactly.
As long as those two aren't like Bogut and Justin Holiday.
If Brandon Rush can get his 3-point shooting percentage back around 45, maybe we'll be playing 2-on-1 in the half court.
All right, we may end up talking some more NBA, but we need to put a bow on this season. What did we learn this season as NBA fans? How did the sport change? What is the identity of this season? What's this season going to be remembered as?
I think this season is the turning point when the pace and space that Miami kept on talking about really took shape, and mostly on the defensive end, with players scrambling over the floor and how critical rotations were, and enabling the Warriors to win the finals with a small ball lineup where they didn't start a player taller than Harrison Barnes' listed 6'8", and in reality 6'7".
Right. Basketball being played on a string around the court is a very important thing that I learned this season, and that I think everyone's going to have to know going forward to follow the game. Well, thanks. We wrap up the NBA season, and we move on to everyone's real favorite sport, baseball. We're going to talk to our friend Daniel Zarchi, who is the best. He is a man who knows lots of stuff. He is a man who has been on a podcast with me for over 5 years talking about the Giants. I've sat next to him in the press box. We've eaten press box food. Underrated food. Very underrated food. Danny, are you there?
I'm here. And press box food is pretty good. I feel like the people who've been there all the time get really jaded on it, but we just take out every chance we get.
It is all you can eat and all you can bring out to the press box.
You got to bring a road sandwich, road cookie for your road cookie.
Yeah, road licorice, road popcorn. There's so many things to road in the press box. But what we need to talk about right now is we need to talk about the St. Louis Cardinals, one of the most storied franchises in Major League Baseball. They are under investigation by the FBI for not even hacking, infiltrating the Astros databases where they keep their sabermetrically inclined information. What the heck, Danny?
So this is the biggest story in baseball right now. The Cardinals, as you mentioned, well renowned for being one of the classiest organizations in professional sports, or at least so their fans claim, is under investigation because somebody tried to hack into the Astros proprietary database. Now, who did it and why? That's what's slowly leaking out, and it seems more and more like it was someone who doesn't know much about computers, and they weren't doing it for any good reason or any real reason aside from getting back at a boss that they didn't like.
Yeah, professional envy even. Jeff Lunau becomes the GM of the Astros, turns this team completely around. This team was a joke last year, the year before, and for several years before that. A huge joke. He goes and turns it around, and then this storied franchise, the classiest, the best fans, this franchise that everyone talks about in such elevated language, like, oh, somebody got hurt, doesn't matter, it's the Cardinals. Turns out, not so classy.
Well, and what it's really looking like now, as you mentioned, he was at the Cardinals before he went to the Astros. It looks like there are people who are still at the Cardinals who didn't like him. And so they looked at a list of passwords he had used while with the Cardinals because he'd set up a similar database there and just tried the same password, and it worked.
Well, that's my question to Joaquin, because you're a tech guy. Mm-hmm. You live your life on your computer.
Yes.
Do you change your password often?
Yes.
If you change jobs, would you just set up new accounts with new passwords, or would you keep a lot of the same information?
You would hope that whoever the network manager at your new job would give you a new password, assign you a password that you would use for this organization.
The craziest part is Jeff Lunau is supposed to be one of the smartest people in baseball, one of the best sabermetricians, one of the best information analysts. How can you not know to change your own passwords when you leave your old team?
Or why do you leave your password sitting around at your old team?
I don't... Just picturing the things pinned on the wall. It's like his Far Side calendar, and then right next to it is the most important thing I've ever done. Here's the password for it.
I'm just excited about all of the photographs of Bill Belichick in Cardinals gear with the Cardinals organization.
Are those photoshopped?
No.
Oh,
it's
no?
a treasure mine.
Oh, no. I'm going to have to look that up. That's amazing. Danny, have you seen these Bill Belichick photos?
Oh, yeah, they're amazing. He preliminarily denies any involvement, all that kind of stuff.
I have one question, though, because baseball is known for its cheating. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. If you're not trying to steal signs, does this really fit into that? Is this the tech version of that?
Not at all. And there's been a lot of really, really good ink spilled on this topic already, but one of the big things that everyone seems to agree on is, what could this have possibly done? It's possible that they were trying to hack into the scouting database and use those tools, use that information for, I don't know, future trades, things like that.
Well, look, they have algorithms, they have scouting reports, they have specific formulas that are team-specific or analyst-specific. So there's a treasure trove of information in there for any team to get their hands on. But it really looks like the Cardinals employees who were doing this were just trying to humiliate the guy. And, we saw those hacked emails last year that made the Astros look kind of dumb. Like, they were trying to trade Bud Norris, and they offered the Giants Bud Norris and asked for Brandon Belt in return. Things like that, where the Marlins offered them Giancarlo Stanton for something that now seems reasonable, and the Astros laughed in their face. Danny, I've seen the fantasy trades you proposed to me. They don't make any sense. You are the Jeff Lunau of fantasy baseball. That's exactly what these look like. And so, yeah, they were a little embarrassing. But how much can you really steal from a team that'll help you on the field? That's what nobody really seems to understand. Well, there's a reason that you hire your own team analyst and you don't use the publicly known information or the MLB-centric information because you try to gain that edge. And the Astros have done it. Look, they turned their entire team around. They must be doing something right. So I think if you think it's embarrassment, that's cool, but I also think there's a level of professional jealousy. Oh, absolutely. But what's really looking to be the case is that it looks like the Cardinals front office didn't really have anything to do with this as an organization, but it might have been a couple guys. Right, but when you're a manager and one of your employees screws up, it's on you. So right now, this is on John Mozeliak. I can never say that guy's name. But right now, it's on him because he's the face. He represents all of the transactions and all of the actions of his employees. And now, this is a tainted franchise. Not quite to the extent of the Patriots because they're multiple-time offenders. But this is a franchise that is now on watch, whereas before, like I said, they were so revered. Yeah, and you're looking at a few different things here. Yeah, you're looking at who knows what kind of discipline the league is going to lay down against the Cardinals. I mean, we don't really see this kind of thing in the same way that we do. Look at the discipline the government is going to lay down. Right, and then there's the criminal law. And in that sense, I mean, everything I've read, nothing indicates that they think that the Cardinals as an organization are going to be criminally liable, but some people are, and I've seen 5 years as a potential prison sentence. Yeah, that's a really interesting one. I'm going to keep following this story because it's embarrassing for almost everybody involved, and definitely Rob Manfred needs to get control of this story because that's not something you can allow in your league. Yeah, absolutely. Who knows if we'll see draft picks revoked? I mean, that's not quite as valuable as it is in other sports, but they can revoke. Like they can revoke international signing bonuses. They can do draft bonuses. They can really cripple teams if they want to, especially a team that doesn't right now have a huge market at its back. Yeah, the irony is that if there's any team that you could levy sanctions against and it wouldn't really hurt them, it would be the Cardinals. That's true. They just keep running out talent. They had their top prospect pass away. They've had multiple injuries this season to their star players, and they just keep chugging along. Or just they keep hacking, as they say in the industry. All right, Danny, thank you for coming on, man. Throw out your Twitter handle. Where can we follow you? You can follow me on Twitter at GiantsPod. At GiantsPod. POD, payable on death, right, Danny?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Thomas.
No problem, dude. We'll talk to you soon.
Go Giants.
He always sneaks that in there. Go Giants. We're going to go to a live read right now because I want to talk to you about Brunos Barbecue and Catering in Kings Village Shopping Center in Scotts Valley. Great friends of ours, great friends of the show. They've got ribs, they've got burgers, steaks, and even some salads. I'm going to try that steak salad I saw on the menu last time. Smoked Gouda, Francesi, Joaquin.
When are we going, Thomas?
So soon. We're going to find an equal day off, and we're going to make a trip.
One of these days.
One of these days. I've been there recently. You need to go for your first time. I need to pop your Brunos cherry. You get the salad. I'll eat all the steak. And then I'll order my own rack of ribs. Brunos also has 12 beers on tap, which we'll certainly order, and a full bar. My friend Rob, behind the bar, good guy. Brunos also welcomes large parties and banquets. Maybe we'll get one of those together. It also features ping pong, darts. There's really nothing you can't do at Brunos, which is what's great. You can sit in the restaurant proper. You can host a party in the loft. You can sit at the bar. You can watch sports, play ping pong. Again, Brunos Barbecue is the best, even to the point where they will offer you a free order of fries. If you mention that you heard us here, Thomas and Joaquin, on Coach's Decision, go into Brunos Barbecue, a free order of fries. That's Brunos off the Mount Hermon exit in Scotts Valley in the Kings Village Shopping Center. Okay. This is the part of our show I dread every week. We are opening up our phone lines to our listeners. Please give us a call, 831-479-1080. We will talk to you about anything you'd like to talk about in the world of sports. We are open to it. I'm going to jump into a topic, and we're going to try to get some calls going. Our topic to start with, our last NBA story of the day, and hopefully for a while, because I'm so joyous that the Warriors won that I don't even want to think about next season or the season after or a season where the Warriors don't win.
We don't get to talk about salary cap and the intricacies thereof, Thomas?
We do, but not on air because we want people to stay awake out there in their homes and their cars. They're on the road, Joaquin. There are people out there driving right now.
Fair point.
So, Lance, make 'em dance. Lance Stephenson, former Indiana Pacer, standout triple-double machine, attention magnet.
Rebound stealing machine.
Well, it's not hard to steal him from Roy Hibbert.
He doesn't leave the ground.
He got traded. What are the specifics of the trade, and what are the implications of the trade?
So Lance got traded from Charlotte to the Los Angeles Clippers, so he's in the Pacific Division with our beloved Warriors. And he got traded for Spencer Hawes, who the Clippers had just signed last summer to the mid-level exemption.
And then buried.
And Matt Barnes. So Hawes could barely get any playing time in the Clippers rotation, and he was useless. But Barnes was a giant piece for the Clippers this postseason.
He was their main wing.
He was their 3-and-D guy that are so in vogue right now.
Well, that's what Lance can do too. He provides an energy on defense, and he used to be able to hit the three. He shot under 20% from three in Charlotte.
He had the lowest shooting percentage from three-point range of any player to ever attempt at least 100 threes in a season.
That's insane. Do you think it was just going from a winning culture in Indiana with, Larry Bird and a stable franchise that had made the playoffs for a bunch of consecutive years going to toil and obscurity? Could he just not handle that transition, or does he need a group of successful teammates to bump him up as a player?
I think that Doc Rivers is betting on himself with this move. Doc Rivers, the coach, thinks that he can handle Lance's personality, and Doc Rivers, the coach, also knows that he wasn't going to play Spencer Hawes anymore. So then Doc Rivers, the GM, has gone out and made that big switch. There's some rumors going around that Charlotte will waive Matt Barnes, in which case I wouldn't be that surprised if he then re-signed in LA.
So why would you trade Lance Stephenson just for Spencer Hawes then? What's the thought process on that side of it?
I'm not sure that there's a clear thought process in the Charlotte organization.
Get this guy out of town.
They're just getting rid of Lance here. It was a kind of bizarre signing because Lance is so ball dominant, and Charlotte had already committed to Kemba Walker long term, and they have a scoring center in Al Jefferson that needs the ball in his hands. So I'm not sure how Lance was going to ever fit with that team. But now with Spencer Hawes could potentially space the floor while Al Jefferson worked down low. And if that's the case, then what Charlotte's doing is they're betting that they can outscore you because both of those guys are turnstiles on defense.
Right, so let's talk about the West in general real quick, because the Clippers are one of the teams whose window is going to remain open for a few more years, like the Warriors, but there's teams like the Spurs, window might be closing. Someone like Memphis, where Zebo's not a young buck anymore, that window might be closing. Dirk Nowitzki is already closed, probably. But is this a powerhouse team next year with Lance? Are they better than they were this year?
If the Clippers bring back DeAndre Jordan, they're one of the top 3 contenders in the West next year, along with a potentially healthy Oklahoma City and your world champion Golden State Warriors.
Well, and when you're a top 3 team in the West, you're a top 4 team in the league, because there's only one team out East who matters right now.
The LeBrons.
The LeBrons. The Cleveland, Miami, Akron LeBrons. Next story. All-Star team voting. Back to baseball. This is getting out of control. The Kansas City Royals, if the All-Star game started tomorrow, which thankfully it does not, there's still some voting to do, they would have 8 starters in the game. Do you know how many spots there are in the starting lineup chosen by the fans?
9?
8.
8?
Because the manager picks the pitcher.
Oh,
they have
goodness.
all 8 positions. They have a player named Omar Infante. Veteran, seasoned veteran, hitting in the low 200s. He's barely hitting his weight. And he's going to start in the All-Star game if nothing changes. What has to happen here? Why is this fan vote out of control? How does this happen?
So early returns can, especially in baseball, can easily be skewed. But I question fan voting for All-Star games in both baseball and basketball because All-Star appearances are looked at for legacy purposes. And All-Star starter appearances are also looked at. So when you get someone like Kobe Bryant, who would have been voted into the All-Star game this year had he not been injured, and then he takes a spot away from a deserving player who would be named as a coach's reserve, then you're tarnishing people's legacies.
Well, but in the NBA, you have something called the All-NBA team, voted on by writers. You have the MVP voting, which baseball does as well. Baseball does not have anything like an all-NBA team. They have the Silver Slugger. They have Gold Gloves. They have, like, offense and defense specific, which can be important when talking about Hall of Fame. But you're right, all-star appearances are important, and this makes it seem like a joke. The commissioner of baseball, Bud Selig, former commissioner, tried to make the All-Star game not a joke by making it count. But now, how can they make this count? How can they have one team fielded like it's their normal starting lineup in a game? That's not all-star. That's just all-royal.
I really don't know the answer for Major League Baseball right here, but they've had a lot of issues with their All-Star game in the past, from draws to now having the All-Star game actually potentially affect the results during the World Series.
Derek Jeter needs to come, not out of retirement, but come to the All-Star game, suit up, and boot out whoever is playing shortstop for the Royals. That's ridiculous. We need at least one guy, one living legend. Lorenzo Cain, great player. Alcides Escobar, pretty good player. Hosmer, Moustakas, rising stars. Great. These guys are not the starters on the All-Star team.
I'd encourage Giants fans to troll the AL team and vote Pablo Sandoval in as an All-Star.
I mean, the Giants did go through this. They got a couple of guys in the All-Star game because of the Silicon Valley, BlackBerry, iPhone culture that we're always accused of and inflating the votes. But this is just even worse. And it's happening to a young team, which is good and nice. The Royals made the World Series last year. But it's even having a carryover effect. Norichi Aoki is now going to start in the All-Star game if the numbers hold. He played on the Royals last year. So you're going to have 8 current and 1 former Royal starting for the NL and AL All-Star teams. That's absolutely ridiculous. Bring Jeter back.
It sounds like a couple of smart people are just trolling baseball.
I wish we were those couple of smart people, Joaquin. I really do. I wish we were that smart. Johnny Manziel, speaking of not smart, he has done something smart. This is the first thing I've done, first story I've done with Johnny Manziel that I've considered smart. He will no longer be doing his money sign. And if you don't know what the money sign is, the man rubs 3 of his fingers together saying, "Pay me, I get paid, money, 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 insert Wu-Tang lyrics here." I don't know what he's doing, but he's not going to do it anymore. And I'm happy about that.
Is he going to play in the NFL? Is he going to see the field?
He's going to put on shoulder pads, he's going to put on a jersey, and they're going to hand him a clipboard.
So what's the big deal? Why doesn't he do the money sign on the sideline? Why doesn't he hold his clipboard with one hand and make the money gesture with the other? Is he committing to not doing that?
I have no idea what goes through this guy's head, but this is the first clear idea I think he's had the entire time. I'm really looking forward to him maturing as a player or being out of the league. I'm completely fine with whichever one happens. Plus, I want him to be Tony Romo's replacement when Romo leaves the league.
Is he going to replace him in the This Is SportsCenter commercials too?
That would be good. He can play the Cowboys mascot, the guy with the hat and the big beard.
There you go.
All right, we're going to talk about another one of our sponsors right now, 99 Bottles. On Walnut Street between Pacific and Cedar, 99 Bottles is the prime spot in downtown Santa Cruz for dining and entertainment. With drink selections from domestic to hard-to-find beers to a full bar, they have literally over 100 selections for drinks. I don't know how I choose every time I go in there. I pick a page, and then I have to pick a beer from that page. That's the only way to do it.
I just say type and ask my waiter to pick for me.
Do you think they actually consider that, though, and on their shift? They're like, oh, I want to get them the best beer, or are they just like, neener, neener, neener?
No, I think they're just picking the first one that comes to mind.
Okay, good, because that's kind of what I do when I pick out the beer. But 99 Bottles, our friends, the food speaks for itself. They have a great selection of pub food, delicious chicken Philly. Man, I love that chicken Philly. Waffle fries on the side. They host a couple of really cool events every week. Wednesday nights, trivia night at 8 o'clock at 99 Bottles with Marisa. Great girl. Those who know me know I'm the trivia guy. I'm a trivia guy, and she puts on a good show. Audio questions, TV themes, one-hit wonders, all the fun stuff you need to nerd out with your friends. Or come in anytime there's a game on. They have TVs. They'll put anything you want on. Soccer, handball, whether it's the banging against the wall kind of handball or the one where guys are running around.
Women's World Cup.
Women's World Cup, absolutely. I'm looking forward to the knockout stage. Can we talk about that now?
What?
Okay. The U.S. women are now in the round of 16?
Yes.
I'm still getting acclimated to this soccer thing. They won their group. They don't have an opponent yet, but we know their second round opponent in the knockout round is going to be either China or Cameroon, and the semifinal matchup would be, if the rankings hold, against Germany. Is it beneficial for them to play Germany in the semis rather than have to face them in the finals? Or am I getting completely ahead of myself?
Take it one game at a time, Thomas. No, I think that facing Germany in the semifinals isn't an advantage for the U.S. I think the U.S. is having a hard time balancing all of their attacking talent to really focus their attack and be efficient on the field. And I think having an extra game to figure that out could very much potentially help this team. Also, you could see Alex Morgan getting healthier.
It was nice to see her getting healthier. Also nice to see Abby Wambach get a goal. That was really important. She'd been complaining about the grass versus the turf and how it wasn't allowing her to bounce her shots in the way she liked and run the way she liked. So it was nice to see her get in the goal-scoring mode, because she's going to need to be in that mode to win this cup. Yes,
if the U.S. wants to win this cup, Abby Wambach has to put her stamp on this tournament.
Oh, LaRue. Sydney LaRue.
Is she your girl?
Oh, everyone else, Alex Morgan, very, very lovely girl, very talented soccer player. I just love the havoc and chaos that Sydney LaRue creates and the pace she sets in the midfield. I'm almost talking like a soccer fan now.
We'll get you, Thomas.
You're almost there.
We'll get you.
You're almost there. Next year's Euro, right?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
We're going to watch
You're going to be
Euro.
excited. Look at you. You're already excited.
I'm Twitter-pated. I wish we were segueing into our Twitter questions right now. That would have been perfect. If you'd like to talk about anything, please call us 831-479-1080. We're just going through some topics of the day here. This one is me specific because I love college basketball. It's a debate we've been having for years. I've probably been losing because pro basketball is insanely popular.
Look at the ratings for the NBA Finals this year, Thomas.
That's true. Best since Jordan in 1998.
Yes.
That's pretty impressive in a day and age when you can be doing anything. You can be seeing Jurassic World. You can watch anything you want at your house.
Or you could watch the cute god Steph Curry in the finals.
The baby-faced assassin. And let's not even make a Game of Thrones reference about that, because that's going to depress everybody even further. But yes, the University of Texas basketball team is having some academic issues. Coach Rick Barnes was fired this year after a long tenure. And this happens every time a long-tenured college coach gets fired, goes to pro sports, or retires. They clean out the closet. The NCAA and the school scoop out all of the demons to try and to have a fresh start. So apparently there were kids cheating. On the football side, they're trying to revamp their entire program with a new head coach. They're getting rid of players who don't meet up their standards. So now they're trying to do it on the basketball side. I don't know what the sanctions are going to be, but apparently kids like P.J. Tucker, Jacobin Brown, really important players to Texas, were caught either cheating on tests, getting help with papers. this is something that happens at all major schools. It's happened at North Carolina. It's happened on the football side at USC, major programs. Is this a reason not to like college basketball? Because I want to like it so much.
I think college sports in general suffer from a lack of transparency and a lack of authenticity. They're represented as student athletes, and the way that college sports are represented to the public doesn't reflect what college sports are for players.
The big problem, I think, Rick Barnes leaving the program, he's taken a job now at Tennessee. Another program that's had trouble. Bruce Pearl had a bunch of academic and recruiting violations over there that eventually led to him getting fired. So I don't really know if there are any coaches who are still bulletproof. Calipari has gone through tons and tons of things. He's still bulletproof because he puts out a good product on the floor, but you can't put out 5 All-Americans every year if you're a guy like Rick Barnes or Bruce Pearl. So authenticity is really important, like you said. I do completely agree with you. I don't think it can ever be there. When you look at the NFL, they're not authentic about concussions and those protocols and their history of mistreating their former players. But at least everyone knows the NFL is a joke. But we have to watch it because you have to watch the NFL. You don't have to watch college basketball as much as they're trying to make you like it with the new rules.
I think the more and more you talk about football and concussions, the harder it is to justify watching. It's hard. Everyone wants to be an ostrich and stick their head in the sand.
Yeah, good luck. It's such an entertaining product. You can fill up a whole day with it and not be disappointed. And there's so many opportunities to eat and eat and eat.
Okay, but when it comes to college basketball, when it comes to these sort of academic violations and things of that nature, you have to consider that with the NBA having their one and done rule, that a lot of guys are essentially professional athletes at the college level. The NCAA only requires students to be full-time students for the first semester of an academic year to be eligible to participate in sports for that academic school year. You get a guy like Kevin Durant, he goes to a semester of classes
at what college?
At Texas. And then he can take the second semester off to just focus on basketball.
Yeah, because you don't have to remain eligible, and you will only become ineligible after the season is over. So guys are going to cheap GE classes, getting B's and C's, playing in the NCAA tournament, then becoming academically ineligible and leaving school.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. Where do you draw the line of where they should be paying college athletes? Should it be D1 schools and powerhouses just in the sports that make money? Should it trickle down into like track athletes or tennis players?
I think there has to be an analysis of the revenue generated by the school, and then that revenue distributed to all D1 athletes equally, no matter the sport.
Right, that would definitely motivate some people to try to make D1 teams. If you're getting even a couple $100 would be nice to pay for some textbooks. I think you have to draw the line a little bit higher. I think you have to keep it in the sports that are the ones making the money and in the programs that are making the money.
I don't think that'll ever happen because of the NCAA's commitment to Title IX.
Yeah, that is true. Fairness is important, but you have to pay the people who are making the money, the ones who are selling the jerseys. It's still not going to be worth it to them to collect an extra $400 a year to play basketball at Kentucky.
Okay, I will accept that you could draw a line with revenue generated in stadium versus revenue generated via merchandise.
That's true, but what about television rights? I mean, that's a big part of the BCS in general.
What about likeness rights for video games?
Yeah, this is a chance for them to be able to make money as college students, put themselves through school. We're not talking about them earning $12 to $15 million a year. We're talking about them earning a couple $1,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 to play a college sport, which is a year-round sport, by the way. If you play basketball, that's what you do that year and the year after. You don't take time off. School ends. Basketball never does. Those kids are always playing basketball.
So I think that this conversation is most germane to football, because I believe that with the way the NBA is focusing on the D-League, that it'll eventually be more like baseball with how players wind up getting to the majors through the minor leagues for the NBA, that players will wind up going through developmental teams. Teams will want to draft players early so that they won't be beholden to a limited amount of activity with coaches, and that will help player development.
Well, that's a good point. Why don't more international players come over sooner? I know they draft guys and they, quote, stash them away in other leagues. Isn't that what the D-League should be for, stashing players?
That's where they're trying to get to. But then with international players, you have to realize that those guys are making lots of money over in Europe by playing. And right now there isn't the money in the D-League to incentivize them coming to America.
Right, but the money's in the NBA, and that could be funneled into the D-League.
I think that's coming down the line.
Okay, so we're coming to a point in basketball where we're going to have more international players in the D-League.
More international players in the D-League, and I think that the NBA will consider dropping their age requirement to get more young players in the D-League.
That's interesting. I'm really excited to see how that goes forward, especially because we do have a D-League team here in Santa Cruz. I'm going to lighten the mood a little right now, Joaquin, because it's been dark. This has been a dark show.
College sports, man.
This is a controversial video that producer Tori showed me the other day. She'll be on in 5 minutes, gentlemen. Don't worry. This is a video. It is actually a commercial where two Boston sports legends become heroes. Listen up. It's a hit single called Sippin'. I love this guitar riff, by the way.
Summertime, super nice.
Everything better with Donkey Nice.
You and me on a tandem bike.
Sipping on Donkey Nice. Coffee.
Summertime, everything's fine.
The sun is up and we got time.
Taking in some sunshine.
Sipping on Donkey Nice. Coffee.
Cup solo.
This is gold, Thomas.
Sipping on Donkey Nice. Sipping on Donkey Nice. Sipping on Donkey Nice. Sipping on Donkey Nice. Sipping on Donkey Nice.
Try to not have that stuck in your head while you're falling asleep tonight. Do you know who those two Boston legends were? You can guess from the accent on
Big
one
Papi.
of them. Big Papi.
And
He's playing the cup solo.
okay.
Doing his straw in and out of his drink. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Who else do we got, Thomas?
Gronk.
Oh. Oh, man.
His overacting in this scene, and I can't wait to show you the video on this, his overacting in this scene, his over-singing even, because Big Papi's mouth doesn't move the entire video. You just see the little gap in his teeth, and his lips kind of move, but it never opens. Gronk is killing it. Gronk is fist-pumping, he's dancing, he's in a pool at various points. I'm going to listen to that song again when I get home.
It makes me want some good old Dunkin' coffee, Thomas.
We don't even have that here, do we?
No.
I think they're coming. I think Dunkin' Donuts are coming. Maybe we'll get them to be sponsors of the show. That would be fun. All right, speaking of our sponsors, once again, Brunos Barbecue. A wonderful place, very near and dear to my heart. Did you know that they cater? They actually, I read on their site, and I talked to them, and they will cater to the East Coast. You can have a party in New York. You can have a party with Big Papi and Gronk in Boston. The pool party. I don't know what kind of pools they have in Boston. Probably not the one like the one in the picture. But they will send Bruno's Barbecue to you if the price is right. But if you are local, they will work with you to find a great rate, to find what your party needs, how much food, how many people. All the people at your party will be impressed when they see Bruno's logo, because everyone knows it's the best barbecue in Santa Cruz County. Everybody wants to eat it. Bruno's Barbecue and Catering. Call them, 831-GET-BBBQ. That's 831-438-2227. Book your summer party with Bruno's Barbecue. Huge menu, more options than they even have in the restaurant. I don't even know where they hold all the stuff in the kitchen. I'm going to have to find out. Bruno's Barbecue and Catering in Scotts Valley. If you do end up in the restaurant, please mention my name, mention you heard me here, and you will get a free serving of fries. Can't beat that. All right, it is time for my favorite segment of the week, rapid fire questions we like to call Tori Topics. Producer Tori is in the studio. Her headphones are on. Her Chromebook is open. Go ahead, Tori. Slay us.
All right,
Don't giggle at me.
I'm always going to giggle at you, Thomas.
All right. First topic.
This one's exciting for me because the Steelers are going to be bringing back the throwback Bumblebee uniforms.
Oh, no.
Wonderful.
Hufflepuff pride.
Borussia Dortmund pride.
Oh, man, I don't want any Harry Potter characters in the NFL. I mean, a lot of them do have scars on their foreheads, but that's not indicative. I'm just going to mic drop off that. What I don't like about the throwback uniforms is the Jets. Do you know the Jets throwback unis?
Describe them, Thomas.
They're brown.
Mm-hmm.
They're brown. They look like the Bears.
They look like the Browns.
Also, the Packers look like the Chicago Bears when they play. It doesn't make any sense. I see Aaron Rodgers playing for the Bears. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, you do see a way for the NFL to sell more jerseys.
Yes, by letting me put anything I want on the back of the jersey. Stop killing all my good jokes. They will not sell me a Falcons jersey with the name Mexico on the back. Do you know why?
Why?
Michael Vick went into a clinic for some STD treatment, allegedly, and used the name Ron Mexico as his sign-in name. So groups of people went on NFL Shop, customized their own Falcons jersey with the name Mexico on the back.
Wonderful.
Right. Tori, next topic.
Tony Parker thinks that Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili, I always say his name wrong.
Manu
Ginobili, yeah, will only play one more season.
Joaquin, I'm going to let you handle this one.
I'm surprised Manu's coming back at all. I thought Manu would retire this offseason. I'm not surprised that Duncan is going to be hanging him up soon, but I think that the Spurs are going to try to fully transition their team to being centered around Kawhi and allow their old guard to ride off into the sunset.
Such a serious take, Joaquin. What I think happened, Manu has seen what doctors can do with your hairline now, and he can completely rejuvenate his career a la LeBron. LeBron is now unstoppable.
LeBron has 2 hairlines, Thomas.
And they're both unstoppable. Unflappable. He had almost no hair. He wore 2 headbands. I don't even wear one.
He should embrace the bald.
Really?
Yes.
Should he shave it like Mike Wilbon on ESPN?
Or Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah, him too.
If LeBron ever wants to be the greatest, he has to go bald.
That would actually be a good show, Mike and Mike in the Morning with Michael Wilbon and Michael Jordan. It'd be a very interesting show.
I'd actually listen to that one.
Absolutely you would. I'd listen to anything those 2 guys did. That would be fun. All right, Tori.
AJ Pierzynski admitted to drinking rally beers during tough games.
AJ Pierzynski is a clown. AJ Pierzynski is a joke. He once punched a man in the face for tagging him out at home. He also hits into more double plays than almost anybody. We starting to learn
Even
why.
More than Casey McGee?
Yeah. Anytime you have to bring up Casey McGee's double play records, you have to compare him to double play machine AJ Pierzynski. But now we know why you're so slow, AJ, because you spent years squatting in the catcher position and pounding beers. What do you call them? Rally beers?
Rally beers.
That's for the fans at home to be doing. Have a rally hot dog if you need some carbohydrates. Beer's not the way to go.
Baseball games are long, Thomas.
They are long.
What if your team's, what if you've already been up and now your team's going to bat around? It's going to be a while till you're out there. Maybe you need a way to keep
Was he smuggling his own beers? Was he buying them from the vendor?
Rally flask.
Rally flask. Do you think a vendor would sell a beer to a player if he asked and gave him I'd say a tenner, but it has to be a 20?
A-Rod was trying to get numbers from the stands, right? Why not get a beer?
A-Rod wasn't trying to get numbers. A-Rod was walking up the left field line collecting numbers like a G. Next topic, Tori.
Colombia has become the first Spanish-speaking country to make it to the knockout stage in the history of the Women's World Cup.
Now, that's just interesting because, well, Brazil does speak Portuguese, so that's an interesting delineation there. But it's a world sport to start with, but it's especially prevalent in places like Mexico and South America and even Spain.
Well, I think this is mostly indicative of the progress women's sports is making in the Spanish-speaking world.
Right. I suppose a lot of them are developing or third world countries, so it would be harder to get even a culture of women's sports to happen somewhere where men's sports is used for things that aren't even sports. They're used for things like illegal gambling or the promoting of political agendas. So I guess you have a good point there. So congratulations, Colombia.
Yes, and South America.
Good luck. Buenos tardes. That means good luck, right?
I'm going to butcher his name again, but Yoenis Cespedes.
Yoenis Cespedes.
Cespedes. Vanished at the top of the third earlier this week. What in the world was he doing?
Wait, he vanished?
He vanished in the middle of,
Was he on base?
No.
Was he in the outfield?
He was supposed to be playing outfield, wasn't there. The team realized he wasn't there. He comes jogging out. What in the world was he doing?
Rally beers, man. Hanging out with his man, AJ.
I think it's the classic Manny Ramirez move of using the bathroom in the Green Monster.
Oh,
style.
man. That was hysterical. Anytime a baseball player disappears, you know they're peeing. Well, at least in this era, you know they're not juicing, but probably peeing.
Just stay away from that one, Thomas.
Oh, man. Sorry, Ioannis, keep getting them checks. I love that guy. All right, Tori.
Whose stock do you think rose the most with the playoffs and the finals?
Klay Thompson. No, just sorry.
An individual player from the finals. I wanted it to be Draymond Green so bad, and it was almost Dellavedova.
Draymond recovered with the triple-double in the last game. He actually made an adjustment mid-series to go to the floater more instead of taking the ball all the way to the rim and challenging the bigs. I think that showed his value.
He did still do it a couple of times, which was obnoxious. And I would like to say, Delly, it might even be James Jones. He proved he could be a regular rotation player for a championship team, which is something not all of us knew going into the finals.
Did he? I don't know that Cleveland showed a championship caliber once they were relying on Jones.
I think he made a lot of plays. I think he was in over his head. He should not have been starting or the sixth man. But I think he's going to have an even longer career than I thought.
Personally, I'd go with Sean Livingston. I think Sean Livingston really showed his versatility. He spelled Curry well as the primary ball handler for the Warriors, and he made smart plays in transition and quick decisions to help close out that Game 6 for the Warriors.
Or heck, even Barbosa, man. That guy was nowhere.
We are championship, Thomas.
We are championship, in the words of Leandro. One more topic, Victoria.
All right. Who is the NFL's equivalent to LeBron James, if there is one?
If you have to look at it right now, whether projecting forward or taking a slice, it's got to be Andrew Luck. He's the future of the league. He's young. He's super talented. He takes teams that aren't very good and drags them places. He hasn't been able to get over the hump or beat the Patriots, things that are very difficult in the NFL. But he's come back big in games. He's big in the fourth quarter. He's going to get some players around him at some point and win a championship or two. I think he's going to be the greatest player in the league. What is your answer, Joaquin?
I think that's a great answer, Thomas.
Or J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt has proven that a defensive player will never win MVP in the NFL.
How many touchdowns do you have to catch to win MVP as a defensive player, while also obliterating everyone else in every statistic that they even measure defensive linemen?
I really like the Andrew Luck answer because I feel like the analogy of the Patriots are to Luck's Colts what the Celtics were to LeBron's Cavs is just tailor-made.
Mm-hmm. J.J. Watt makes Ndamukong Suh look like Greg Gumbel. That's all I'll say. And we're going to close out our show today. Thank you, Tori, for your Twitter questions. We could not do this without you. Some more thank yous and self-promotion. Thank you to me, because I'm awesome. Thank you to Joaquin, who's equally awesome. Find all episodes of our show, Coach's Decision, on YouTube. It's going to be on our channel, Coach's Decision. Follow the show Twitter, at Coach's Decision. Follow me, Thomas, at Giants Todd, and Joaquin, at Joaq, JOAQ_Nagel. If you have any thoughts, please send them to us, Tori at coachesdecision.ksco.com. Thank you to KSCO for making us feel at home. Thank you to Chris, my board op. Good job, man. And finally, thank you again to Joaquin. I could not do this without you. My name is Thomas Todd, and you're listening to KSCO 1080 AM, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey.